I'm also about to explore these steaks tonight with my Top Chef grilling skills. Get on my level. Top Chef griller Eddie G.
My name is Richard Eden.
My name is Joshua Simpson.
My name is Riah Stevenson.
My name is Sathya.
My name is Carey.
My name is Tom Humble.
My name is Suzydee Hernandez.
I'm Darrell Jackson.
My name is Gene Marty.
It's Jamal.
My name is Mikey.
My name is Thomas.
And you're tuned in to Photo Corner. Along this creative pursuit, we experience the ups and downs of the process. Whether this is just a hobby for you or your profession, being able to lean on peers for their consultation can be a pivotal factor in navigating your journey. At times, the creative journey can be a lonely one, but allowing space for all of us to share our truths can be a comforting one. The internet is a place we can use to co-create, break down borders, and move past the physical distance that separates us. Today we are visiting with the same photographers you learned about in the previous episode, but instead of learning about their creative journey, this time they want to help you on yours. Whether it just be finding reasons to pick up the camera every day, staying true to what you're drawn to create, or even growing as a photographer within your industry. We hope you're able to pick up something and pay it forward within our community. A rising tide lifts all ships.
If I had to give one tip to photographers, it would be to bring gratitude with you along with that camera wherever you go. We're lucky to be able to call ourselves photographers, or whether it's professional or personal, whatever it may be. Being able to see the world in a different light and share that vision with people is a big deal that we should remain grateful for as often as possible.
So one tip I would give photographers is to pick up your camera and go shoot. Act on any inspiration and motivation you have out there, because honestly at the end of the day, like, that's what it comes down to. Picking up your camera and going and making things happen. Photos ain't gonna take themselves. That camera ain't gonna levitate over to the mountains and start shooting landscapes for you. The only way you're gonna get that is by doing that yourself. So get out and act on that inspiration.
So one tip that I would offer up to other photographers is just the importance of actually feeding your creativity. Now obviously as a photographer, it's important to hone your skills, it's important to practice with your equipment, get better at, like compositional techniques, learn how to read the light and all things like that. But I think the main important thing is just making sure that you do feed your creativity and just keep those creative juices flowing. I think a lot of people see creativity in the arts and stuff like that as more of a luxury, like a hobby, as opposed to what it really is. It's a necessity, As human beings, it helps us to thrive, it helps us to feel connected, and I think it just helps us to feel like we've got something else to give, as opposed to just waking up every day, going to work, coming home, eating and going to sleep, A lot of the time, most normal people don't sit around thinking about poetry, of course, or photos and paintings and stuff like that. It's only when you reach a point in your life where you need it that all of a sudden it makes sense, Maybe you've gone through a breakup or you've lost a loved one, and all of a sudden you find yourself trying to make sense of things and searching for things to help, and all of a sudden that poem or that painting or that photo really resonates with you and it makes you feel better, and it helps you to understand that other people have been through this before and they've got over it and you will too. To this day we still appreciate paintings, books, poetry and stuff like that are thousands and thousands of years old, and I think essentially being creative and creating bodies of work or masterpieces or poems or books and stuff like that is also another way to help leave your own legacy, and that's something that I'm very interested in myself at the moment. But yeah, so my tip for other photographers, my main tip is just to make sure that you are keeping on top of your creativity.
So the advice I would give a photographer, especially like a new one who's maybe trying to figure it out, is that gear matters and it also doesn't. And I say that because I believe that you can take a good picture with any camera, but what's important, or most important, is being able to find the camera that speaks to you without worrying about, what the specs are of a camera, or whether it's medium format or 35mm. Figure out what camera you like to shoot with and what you feel like you're creating good work with, and stick with that camera. Some cameras don't work for certain people, You might not like a waist level viewfinder, or you might not like medium format because you don't like being limited or more limited in the number of shots you can take. An SLR might not be for you. You might like rangefinders more. So experiment and figure out what works for you. Not one is not better than the other. It really just matters on personal preference, and that's really what I feel like I wish I knew earlier down the line while I was learning film photography and photography in general, is that gear matters in the sense that you should figure out what works for you. Don't worry about the specs, worry about what works for you.
As for a tip that I would give other photographers, I would say not to take it too seriously. Just have fun creating what you like to create and try not to compare yourself to others.
My advice for photographers would be to learn what it is that you love to shoot and go out and shoot it. I feel like a lot of people go into photography, primarily film photography, and try to follow a lot of the trends that they see on there, and I feel like that's really cool if that's what you love to shoot, but if it's not, then don't do that. Do something different. When I first started shooting film, like, my primary focus was to shoot the things that I love, which was landscapes and things that I'm surrounded by in California, and it never stopped being fun for me because that was always what I intended to do. And you know, whenever film photography stops getting fun for me, it's because I find myself going down the path of wanting to follow a trend, and it's a dangerous path to go down, especially if it's not what you really want to do or shoot. So, you know, shoot what you love and have fun with it.
My biggest advice that I would give to a photographer or creative, just stick to you and stay true to your lane. A lot of people, when they do something, they aren't too confident in it, and I can speak for myself because I know when I did street photography and documenting when I first started, it was like I'm just shooting photos and posting these, but I didn't feel like anything was coming from it. Or, you know, a lot of people want to make money as a creative, and anything that you do, you would love to make money and thrive off of that. And so for me, it was hard seeing other people thrive and me doing this different style of photography and feel like I'm not getting the recognition I deserve or the money or whatever the case may be. But for anybody else, I would just say stick to what you're doing, stay true to you, because people are going to love you for you, your eye, how you create, and they're going to gravitate towards that. They're going to feel that. And so don't switch up, don't do things that are trending, don't try to do things that'll make quick money, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be happy. It's not truly what you want to do, and you're going to be wanting to go back to what you were doing. So stay true to you, stick it out, and allow it to grow, because eventually it's going to turn into something. You just got to believe and just keep going and keep pushing, and eventually you'll get your big break.
So one tip I would share with other photographers is to be proud of your work, honestly. And you know, just because that you aren't paid to do it, or photography isn't your main gig, like, doesn't make you any less of a photographer. I used to be really hesitant to call myself a photographer or like tell people that I'm a photographer, because I don't know, I maybe that was like immaturity a little bit. Like, I think that was the biggest contributor to me falling out of the hobby for a while in the first place. So yeah, I mean, shoot what you want to shoot, like, you know, take pictures of what you think looks cool. Like, I think that's like the best piece of advice that I could give, and it's just a better mindset overall about photography.
A piece of advice that I would tell photographers would be to make sure that you're making photos for yourself. At the end of the day, you shouldn't be making photos for anyone. You shouldn't be making photos to please anyone but yourself. Make sure to be as conventional or unconventional as you like. Be as spontaneous or unspontaneous as you like. But also, don't forget to make memories. At the end of the day, this is a memory-making machine. So this is not gonna last always. Eventually it's gonna fail you. But if you have this camera and it's what you enjoy using, make sure to capture as many memories as possible. And I feel as though your journey will be more fulfilling than you thought it possibly could.
One of the tips that I can give is to try new things and not be afraid of failing. I know it's hard these days to not judge yourself by the likes and comments you get in your posts and in your videos. But I strongly believe that at the end of the day, we have the power to steer our, work in any direction that we want to. So yeah, try new things. And as you've probably already heard before, failing is part of the process. You're trying to work out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. I'm going through that journey myself right now, and I can assure you that it is not always going to be easy. Like, it definitely screws with your brain and makes you ask all these questions, sometimes good questions, but sometimes negative questions. And during times like that, I think it's very important to remember that it's normal and that you're going through an essential step of being a better creative.
When it comes to giving advice to other photographers, I think the most important thing I would say is just to keep practicing. There's always something that you can learn, there's always something that you can improve on, and just keep shooting, keep working at what you're doing, and that will definitely become apparent in your work.
One tip I would give for other photographers would be to network. I feel like networking is really key, and I think it can really, help elevate you in your situation and your work within the industry. From personal experience, it has, helped me get in contact with some major brands, some major artists, record labels, and even other photographers and models that I never thought would even, take the time of day to, show love or even ask me to work for them. And I feel like, if you have internet, if you've got a smartphone, if you have a laptop, I think it's never been easier to just send a quick message to someone, whether you're in a car, you're on the train, or you're just, chilling at home. I feel like it's so key to just send that message. And I feel like a lot of people, let their anxiety get on top of them, or they're just scared of rejection. But if you don't ask, you don't get. And I feel like if you just send a message to someone, whether that is locally, someone that's in a different country, you never know who's gonna reply. And everyone's always looking at their requests on Instagram. So I say, network, and just don't be afraid to ask. Whether you send 5 messages a day to someone, down the line someone's gonna reply back to you. And I feel like it is so key to network within your field of work and your industry, because it can be really beneficial.
Now, if I had one tip to share with either a new photographer or an old photographer, if you had to ask me for one tip, it would definitely just be, whenever you share something, whether it be a photo or if you make videos, you should set it and forget it. That would be the best thing for your mental health. Really just understand, why you're taking the picture and why you're posting the picture. In my line of business, it really doesn't matter how many likes my photos gets. It just matters if clients are coming into the door because I'm posting photos to begin with. Once I realized that likes didn't mean that much of a thing, posting photos and taking photos really just became a whole lot more enjoyable, because I wasn't just hopping back on Instagram every 5 minutes to check how many likes my picture got or how many story views that I have. I'm not gonna lie, I still do that from time to time. That is the #1 best thing in terms of your mental health, and one tip I would give to photographers. There are tons of other tips, but I think we should value mental health in this creative game, because ultimately, if your mind is in a healthy place, you're going to create your best work, which is what's most important at the end of the day.
After hearing from everyone, there's one thing we should take into consideration. Multiple things can be true at once. Knowing the different journeys each of these photographers are on explains the advice that has been given from their unique perspectives. The truths are valid. And even though everyone's timing is different, we know that aspects of our journey can be similar to our peers. We hope that you were able to take something from today and pay it forward to further elevate yourself and those around you within this community. On the next episode of Photo Corner, we asked an important question. How do you define success as a photographer? Success is something that can be broadly defined, but it's specific to every individual and their journey. One shoe does not fit all. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Photo Corner.